All right, for more on this, let's talk to Ray Didinger. Ray Diddy joins us every single Monday at this time. He's always brought to us by Verizon. Phones were not made to be broken, but life happens. So when your phone breaks, Verizon's got you. Trade in any phone at your local Verizon store in any condition guaranteed and get a great deal on one of their best 5G phones with unlimited ultimate, the Diddy. He's the ultimate, Ray Didinger. Ray Diddy, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Joe. How are you doing?
Happy, Ray.
Mm-hmm.
We got a season, Ray. And look,
Joe finally sort of believes in our quarterback today.
well, I'm not as far down the track, Ray, as John is, but I was very impressed and encouraged with Jalen yesterday. What'd you make of his performance, Ray?
Oh, it was really good. This is 4 straight games with a quarterback rating over 119. It's the first time in the history of the franchise anybody's done that.
That sounds outstanding.
So he's playing really good football. Yeah, and the bottom line on him is, of course, 4 straight games without turning the ball over. If he can just keep playing that way with the players they have on this offense, they're going to be a very, very hard team to stop. And we can talk endlessly about this game and about the performance of Saquon Barkley, which is becoming otherworldly by the week, it seems. But one of the things one of my takeaways from this game is just how good Hurts looks compared to the guy we saw at the end of last year. I mean, to me, it's a stark difference. I mean, he now is moving and running and making plays with his legs more than he did last year. I mean, he looks now to me, in terms of that kind of stuff, he looks like he did 2 years ago. I mean, he really, and I think part of it is Barkley. I think part of it is the fact that Barkley's in there and becomes such a big part of the offense that Jalen doesn't have to take the hits that he's taken before, and as a result, he's got more. He's just got a lot more quickness. He's got a lot more ability to run, and when he took off on that one run, when he just tucked the ball away and just started up the middle, it looked like the guy of a couple of years ago. And we haven't seen that for a while, but I think it's here now, and I think having Barkley in the backfield to lean on is a big part of that.
I totally agree with you, Ray. He does look faster and just more decisive, and it's great. What he did yesterday, what Jalen did yesterday was great. Ray, so let's address the Saquon thing. We all know he's amazing. I love your term, otherworldly. That's a great one. I want to present what I think is a tough question to you, and I'm curious where you come down on our Twitter poll question of the day today. It's brought to us by Armin Chevrolet. Proud to again be Pennsylvania's #1 Chevrolet EV dealer. Now in stock, the Equinox Blazer and Silverado EVs. Together, let's drive. ArminChevy.com. So, Ray, we've all seen thousands of Eagles plays. You've seen more than us. In my opinion, the best I ever saw, pure athletic, brilliant play that I ever saw was Randall's touchdown versus, Buffalo in 90, Bruce Smith evading him in the end zone, the heave to Fred Barnett, the whole thing.
You're right.
Our Twitter, and I'm not talking about like the Philly special, which is way more important, Brandon Graham's strip sack, way more important, like pure athletic brilliance and awareness that goes into it. Which play, Ray, in your opinion, is more impressive? Saquon's yesterday or Randall's in 1990 against Bruce Smith?
Well, two different plays. Obviously, one's a quarterback, one's a running back. One involves a throw, the other one doesn't. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to, to me, it's not exactly apples to apples. But
you're trying, Ray. It's a tough one.
No, it is. But I'll say this. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen. Listen, I've been watching football a long time, and after 13 years at NFL Films, looking through all the footage in that vault, I think I've pretty much seen everything. Everything that's happened on an NFL playing field. I've never seen a guy do what he did yesterday. I've never seen a guy have a reverse hurdle of a tackler.
Yeah.
That I've never seen that before. But that's what this guy's capable of.
Is it sustainable, this level of dependency on Saquon, Ray?
I kind of think so, John. I kind of think so. I mean, look, anything can happen on any given carry. Mm-hmm. I mean that you know that. But
yes.
I don't get the feeling that he's wearing down. I don't get the feeling that he's at risk. I don't think so.
If anything,
right now,
I like to imagine that he's more protected than he was when he was up in New York. I like to think that now he's got a better chance for, I don't know, like physical survival during and after.
But Ray, I'll say this. There is still a long way to go. I mean, assuming they don't get the 1 seed, which they probably won't, but could. 8 games down, 13 to go to win a Super Bowl. I mean, he was getting pretty beat up yesterday. And 31 touches in a game is a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. But I'm not. It doesn't scare me. I mean,
I like that you're comfortable with it, Ray. I feel 31 touches. Well, really 30 touches officially. It does,
but he had the one the guy called back, so that was 31.
It feels scary to me a little bit, but then I think about Ray's. We're talking about a workhorse back. Saquon Barkley has carried the load before, and he knows how to do this.
Ray, let's get to the QB sneak as the Eagles have evolved it. Are you worried that
why did it break?
Is being figured out? Is that because you got a different guard in there? Is that because you don't have Dallas Goedert in there to push Jalen? Like, what do you make of that issue?
Combination of all of those factors. Teams have obviously studied this, and I think they have their own ideas. And I think they have a better idea now of how to deal with it. And I think now that some teams are having success stopping it, defenses will actually. I think there was, especially over the last year, there was a feeling of almost resignation on the part of the defense that at fourth down they're going to line up and we can't stop them. I mean, we'll try, but they're going to make it. Well, now it's not so much. I mean, now defenses are they can look at the film and say, hey, teams are stopping these guys now. So they're going to line up with a whole different mindset than they were a year ago. And so the fact that defenses are better prepared for it, and obviously study and prepare for it during the week, and now we're having some success in doing that, is going to make it tougher. And the other part of it is you do have different people out there. You don't have Mailata, you don't have Kelce, who to me was really the key to the whole thing. You don't have him. You had different right guard. It's different people, and so I mean it's both of those things at work, and that's going to make things. I think they're still going to make it more often than they won't, but it does have to influence your thinking as a coaching staff during the games about where are we now, and can we do this and know that we're going to make it. Now it's a more open question.
Ray, a lot of people upset with Nick Sirianni's decision-making yesterday. I wonder, do you think it's possible that he, in his decision-making, has been more aggressive in terms of going for it because his list of assignments on game day has been sort of pulled back to where this is one of the things he really has, one of the few things he has left that he makes decisions on. Is it, and it's a decision to go for it or not to go for it in many cases that sends a message to his team when he says, yeah, let's go for it. Let's go for the touchdown on fourth down, that he believes in them. Isn't it really difficult for him to resist that temptation when his list of duties has been sort of restricted at this point?
Could be. I mean, could be. I think it goes beyond that, though. I think
he's being too aggressive with it because this is the only thing that there is.
No, I don't know how much that factors into it. I don't know that these decisions are made impulsively. I don't know that they're made on the spot. I think that they're stuff that this team talks about during the week, and I think it just comes down. It becomes part of the day-to-day operation down there. Look, we all know how much of the analytics, how much the analytics thing has become a part of what, not just the Eagles, but teams throughout the league, hell, across all sports, is that kind of decision making is being taken over to a large degree by the analytics department, and I think it's something that is talked about in the building. Not just on Sunday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when you have to make the decisions. You're talking about it on Wednesdays. Mm-hmm. We're going for it on fourth down. It's a 4th and 3 or less. We're going for it. Or, You know, the analytics tell us that 2-point conversions, you're going to make them most of the time, and you're better off doing it, so we're going to do it. And it just becomes part of what you're thinking. It almost isn't. It almost isn't. I think everybody thinks it's a spontaneous decision that's made on the spot. I honestly don't think it is. I think it's something that you've talked about all week, and that's just kind of the way you're going to roll. And yesterday almost cost you the game. I mean, it really did. I mean, there was – if Nick had taken the easy points, if he had taken the 2 makeable field goals – and just gone for PATs instead of 2-point conversions, they're up 3 touchdowns with 7 minutes to go. And guess what? Saquon Barkley's on the bench.
Yeah,
and
no, that
Kenny,
yeah.
And Kenny Gainwell is taking those carries that you're talking about. You know, he's not pushing 30 touches. He's on the bench and he's perfectly fine with it. But you found yourself fighting for your life with 2 minutes to go in a game that you had fully in hand at the end of 3 quarters. And why? Because of the decisions the head coach made. I mean, there's no question about that. And so, listen, they're 6-2, and they're in great shape right now. I mean, they're heading down to Dallas to play a crippled Cowboys team. The week after that, they play Washington in a very big game, but they play them at home on a short week, which is always tough for the visiting team. Everything is really falling into place for this team right now. It really is. If you're an Eagles fan, you got to feel really good about where they are right now.
So, Ray, I hear you on a good chunk of the Sirianni thing you said, but I just want to push back on this one thing. Because I thought he should have kicked the field goal 4th and 3, first half. I thought he should not have kicked the 57-yard field goal, fourth quarter. But don't you think when the other team has a penalty and you can run a 2-point conversion from the 1-yard line with Jalen Hurts, this offensive line, and Saquon Barkley, don't you think he should? Even if 3 announcers in the booth say he shouldn't. Like, wouldn't you say 1-yard line, 2 points, or extra point, shouldn't they go for the 2 points?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I don't think it's as easy as just, yeah, sure, go for it. You know, I mean, in the situation that you had, there's so many situations early in the game. I mean, you're up 20 points. What's 2 points? I just take them. Just take them.
Okay.
You know, you say, oh, it's we got the penalty. We're half the distance. We're right there. You can't be stopped. Yeah, you can, because you saw that yesterday. You know, this to me is a real. And it's not just with Philadelphia. It's across the league now. It's become kind of an institutionalized way of thinking about these games, where I see coaches walk away from short points all the time because they're going for the bigger score, and it winds up biting them in the butt. I mean, it wound up costing Dan Campbell a playoff game last year. You know, and that's an organization that is very much like the Eagles, which is very much analytics driven, and that led the Detroit Lions to a decision that maybe cost them a shot at the Super Bowl. And so that's the kind of way you have to look at it. I know I am stubbornly old school in many ways in the way I look at the game, the way I approach the game, but that doesn't mean I'm wrong. And in the NFL, it is hard to score points, and when they're right there in front of you, take them. Okay, unless you're in the fourth quarter and you know you're behind. And you know you're in a situation where, look, we got to take some chances here. We got to go for the bigger score. We got to go for it on 4th down here. Field goal isn't going to help us. Or in this case, we got to go for the 2 points as opposed to the 1. That's in those situations. Yeah, I understand why you have to do that. Why you have to do it with a 20-point lead in the first half of the game, I don't get that.
All right,
if it's there in front of you, just take it.
All right, couple quick final things here. How does the replay booth not rule Saquon Barkley down that he was tackled and it's not a fumble? I mean, how did they not see that?
I don't know. I mean, to me, it was so obvious. I mean, I never, you know, I'm sitting there thinking, well, why is this taking so long? I mean, to me, it was obvious almost from the moment it happened. I don't know how they blew that one. And that was one of the other things. Look, there are so many things you can discuss about Barkley's brilliance, about Hurts' performance, about Nick's coaching. So many things you could talk about with this game. But lost in that was, I thought this was a horribly officiated game.
Yep.
I really did. And sadly, that's become almost the way of life in the NFL. I mean, this is a real officiating in the NFL to me is really an issue. You know, and I don't know if the boys up on Park Avenue or how much time they spend talking about this or worried about this. You know, they're too worried about, you know, sending the Giants over to play in Germany. I mean, they're more concerned about selling T-shirts in Dusseldorf than they are about the state of their game, I suppose. But I mean, these are discussions that they should be having at the highest level about the officiating, because you look across the league, you watch games Thursday nights, Monday nights, whenever. I mean, the officiating is so bad right now. And yesterday's game, the Eagles game, I mean, there are a million things you want to talk about other than that. But there was a lot of situations in this game that just left me scratching my head. That was the biggest one.
Yeah.
Because that was a true game turner.
Oh, yeah, it handed them 7 points. It was a joke. It was like, here, take 7 points.
Right on the heels of them having scored. Okay, yeah. I mean, it totally changes the game, and it's inexcusable.
Totally.
I mean, with today's technology, that's what the replay system was meant to get rid of.
Yep.
That was the kind of stuff that the replay system was supposed to take out of the game. Oh, no, we got replay. The call, get it right.
Yeah,
get it right.
Totally.
Well, there it was, and you got it wrong.
Totally. All right, Ray, 2 final things, and they're both, big topics that if it wasn't after an Eagles game, we'd be doing the whole show on these things. Floor is yours on the Joel Embiid situation. Just whatever part of it, his comments Friday, the thing Saturday with him and Marcus Hayes, what are your thoughts?
I don't know what to make of it. I mean, Joe, I don't know where to go with that. I mean,
yeah,
I don't.
It's
know.
A lot. I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's too much for me to try. It's too much for me to try to tackle in the 30 seconds you got left. So, I mean, here's the one thing. Here's the one. I'm looking at it from Marcus's standpoint. In my years in the business, in my years when I was a sports writer, the one thing that the one thing I never wanted to do was I never wanted to become part of the story. I was there to write the story. I was there to cover the news, but I was not there to be the story. And not that Marcus intended to do that. Not that Marcus intended for that to happen. But that's where he found himself. And that's not an easy place to be. And I feel sorry for him. I got into it one time in my life, and it was not a. And believe me, it was before the days of talk radio. It was before ESPN. It was before podcasts and social media. So it wasn't nearly the brouhaha that this became. But I can tell you, as a reporter, that's a bad place to be.
And what about the Kelce thing? I mean, maybe that one's too loaded to unpack in 30 seconds also. But any thoughts there? I don't. Clearly the kid, from what I saw, and I just saw a little clip on YouTube. Yep.
The kid at Penn State was way out of line.
Totally. No question.
The kid was way out of line. Jason would have been better served to just walk away from it. I think that I can't think of anything I would always say to an athlete other than that. If in situations like that, if you're an athlete, you're recognizable, and you're recognizable to the degree that this guy is recognizable. You just gotta. If somebody shouts something, you just gotta let it go in one ear and out the other and walk away from it. I mean, whether you go back and confront the guy, whether you smash his cell phone, whenever you engage, there's nothing to be gained by that. You're better off to just walk away from it and ignore it. And Jason's become such a big celebrity now. I think where he goes, he almost needs security.
Yep.
I think it's gotten to the point now with him and his brother. Well, his brother obviously has it when he's with Taylor Swift because she has her own. But, I mean, it's gotten to the point now where they are such huge personalities that when they're in those situations, when they're in those, those TV situations or those event-type situations, it's got to the point now where I think he needs a couple people with him to just make sure that kind of thing doesn't happen again.
Totally agree. Yeah, totally. Hey, Ray, stay well. By the way, reminder to everyone listening, interviews like this with Ray, Seth Joyner today at 9 to 10, they're all going to be posted on the Odyssey app. So if you miss any portion of the show, Sirianni tomorrow, Jaws tomorrow, Mike Quick this week, Brandon Graham, like all these what we think are, pretty damn prominent interviews, you can always get them on the Odyssey app, including Ray, every Monday with us after the game. Ray, have a great rest of the day, pal. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay, you do the same. Take care, guys.
Thank you, Ray.
215-592-9494 to react to it all. Plus, Lane Johnson after the game, actually with some interesting comments, kind of critical of the Eagles in the midst of the win. What Lane said, we'll get to that, and we'll revisit the 3 massive plays as they happen. Saquon, Devontae, plus Jalen in that. That was a big part of it also. And then obviously Nakobe, and what the players said about them after the game. That and more up ahead. Your calls as well on 94 WIP.